Welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Boxing. I'm Leti.
I'm LB.
And we're going to get into the fight that we saw versus Teofimo Lopez out of Brooklyn. Versus Pedro Campa out of Mexico.
Yeah.
So we had Teofimo win this fight by knockout in the 7th round.
Yep.
But what did you think about his performance?
Teo came out and did exactly what I expected him to do. Pedro Campa, based on the style, was a perfect matchup for Teo, especially coming back after that brutal loss that he took with Cambosis. So, this was definitely a good matchup for him. We were able to see him at 140 for the first time. And if you watched our previous video, I talked about how I thought Teo was going to come in and box a lot more. And you could see that he did come in there and he started boxing a lot more. He started off, I had asked, I was like, man, I want to see him use that jab a lot more. And, he did come off starting to use the jab a lot in the beginning of the fight. Towards the end of the fight, I felt like he got away from the jab. One of the main things that I was looking on is his adjustments that he was going to make in this fight, just defensively, just because of the shots that Cambosis was landing and previous opponents that have landed on him. So, Campa was able to land some shots on him. So I was really looking forward to those adjustments, and they still weren't there. Yeah. But I will say this: at 140, his explosiveness was there, and also his power was there. But those guys at 140 are bigger, so it's gonna take longer for him to get him out of there. But I think that he'll be okay with his power and his athleticism.
Yeah, well, to me, again, it's big for me for a fighter to have good defense. Mm-hmm. I think Teofimo was just really relying on that shoulder roll. Mm-hmm. His hands were down the whole fight, pretty much. Mm-hmm. And using his movement or whatnot, but the hands were down the whole fight. Yeah, wasn't so happy with that. I gotta say, it wasn't it wasn't a beautiful performance to me. I think he did good. Mm-hmm. He got Campa out of there.
He did what he was supposed to do.
He did what he was supposed to do, but again, maybe it's, the ring rust or whatever, after the long layover, the whole medical issues that he was having. I think he has still a lot more to work on, especially going up to 140. There's some dogs up there,
dogs.
Especially with the power. He was even talking about he did feel like he needed to work on his legs more, to maybe, come in with more power or whatever, because he was throwing some brutal shots to Campa and he was taking them,
That's why there's weight classes for a reason. So he was able to. I will say this, Campa is a real 140 pounder. Sometimes we see people move up and they don't fight like a true person of that division. Mm-hmm. And so, that was good that he did that so he could really get the taste of that 140. But yeah, there's some real dogs in there. Yeah, and it's like also with Teofimo though, at some point, he was playing around in the ring a lot also, and some people was like, I don't know how to take that. It's like, you're happy you're back in the ring, you almost lost your life, what he said from the last fight, and, he was doing a few little, dances or whatever during the fights. Yeah. But I thought it was an okay performance. Yeah. He did good. He did what he was supposed to, but he still has a lot to work on. Yeah, coming back. Yeah, and to come off of that, we've talked about he really wants to get, he really likes to use that shoulder roll. Well, if that's, I feel like if that's the defense that he wants to use, I would like to see him get with a true teacher of the shoulder roll, because it seems like, he's doing this shoulder roll just off based on what he sees, but not necessarily why he's supposed to do the different things on the shoulder roll. So if I would like to see him, work with maybe a Bozy Ennis who actually is from Philly and knows the shoulder roll, so he can perfect it. Another thing, another reason why, that he struggles on defense, I feel like he struggles with mastering distance. And that may come with, he did say, he only got 2 weeks. He only did 2 weeks of sparring. But even before that, I've always said that, thought that he struggles with the distance and judging the distance, which is also why he gets hit a lot as well.
I was going to say, because that shoulder didn't look like it was working. Yeah. He did get caught with a few punches. I know they were saying that he didn't get hit a lot, but he got, hit, especially coming up, fighting at 140. Yeah. It looked like he got, up a little bit. On the ropes especially. It seemed like every time he got behind the ropes, that's when Campa was catching him,
Yeah, like the shoulder roll, if you master the shoulder roll, it's amazing. But I feel like it just hasn't been mastered by him yet. And that's why I want to see him get with a teacher of the shoulder roll, so because it looks like, you know, he's not doing it instinctually. It looks like he's just, you know, kind of doing it, just doing it to be doing it at times.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, we talked about it, you know, even in our previous video that, you know, he gets caught with his hands down, which allows him to be there to counter. And, you know, Campa was able to do that. So, and we talked about them dogs, like, you know, the shots that he was taking from Campa, you know, there's some real dogs. He can't take those type of shots from Regis, or even our boy that we saw a couple weeks ago, Gary Antoine Russell. He can't, you know what I'm saying? There's some real dogs at 140, and they ain't nothing to play with, so you can't be taking them shots like that. So, you know, defensively, he gonna have to make those
step it up
changes.
a notch, you know. And I'm excited to see him. You know, okay, he got his feet wet, you know, in the 140 division. Let's see what adjustments he's gonna do in this division and how he's gonna come back. You know what I mean? Because, you know, I gotta respect every fighter that comes in the ring. You know, I want to see all the boxers succeed in this. It's a, you know, brutal sport. But, you know, I am excited to see him back in the ring. I feel like he's still got a lot of shit going on, you know, outside of boxing that's messing with him on the inside still. And, you know, at the point you kind of have to learn how to control that, because when you put your life, you know, in the ring, it's like you got to learn how to
you know, he's gonna have to, because the opponents, they're not gonna get they're not gonna give a shit. They don't give a shit about that. So yeah, he just have to, you know, get over that and get through that, because, you know, the opponent don't care nothing about that. But yeah, you know, we can talk. Yeah, you want to kind of talk about some of the matchups. He mentioned Regis Prograde. He
mentioned all the good ones that, you know, I would not mind seeing.
Yeah.
He did mention that, or he even mentioned like the winner. Oh yeah, of Cepeda or Regis.
Yeah.
He talked about Josh Taylor. He keeps naming Josh Taylor out because, of course, he's kind of one of the top dogs in that division right now, you know?
Yeah.
So, I wouldn't mind seeing a lot of those little ones. But they also did say that he might fight Barboza maybe, and before, you know, his next fight with one of the...
And Arnold Barboza, he's a lot better than Campa. And that's a tougher task for him. So you know, the shots that he was taking from Campa, he shouldn't be taking those from Barboza. And you know, I was just really looking for the improvements, and it just seemed like it was just more of the same old Tio, just, you know, in a higher weight class with a lesser opponent. So I was just looking for more improvements. You know, I didn't really see that, but I mean, if you watch him, you know, he's got the potential. I mean, the power's there, the athleticism there, the explosion's there. I mean, you saw him in his left hook. His left hook is strong. You know, he's got a good jab, but he's not consistent with it. He's got a good right hand. You know, and just as good as he is athletically, I would expect him to be better on defense. And so, you know, those are just some of the things. But yeah, if he moves up and, you know, if he fights the guys that we're talking about, the Gary Antoine Russells, the Josh Taylor, the Regis Prograde, Jose Ramirez. I mean, he can't come in there with those type of defensive flaws, because they're just going to expose those. Yes. You know what I mean? But I mean, are those all good fights? Those are all good fights that we like to see. You know, even the Devin Haney fight that we've been calling for a long time. I want that fight. He's so bad. I want to see that fight.
Yeah, but we know he's tied up right now.
Yeah, but you know, but yeah, that's just kind of how I feel about the fight and the matchup.
Again, I thought he did okay. Yeah. It wasn't bad. You know, he didn't get punished or shit. Like, he won by a knockout, you know? Yeah. And, you know, we got to call it out what he said. He had spent like $50K to bring people, you know, into the front row, celebrities and even Oscar de la Hoya. And they asked him, like, oh, so what did Oscar say? You know, like, after the fight, what you guys talk about? And Theo was just like, oh, we didn't even talk. He just left. He just left without even talking to me, you know? Yeah. So it's like, okay, you know, this is going to be a little bit more. I want to know what happened there, you know? Because I feel like usually they stay and they talk, or good job or whatever the fight, you know.
Sometimes,
fight,
sometimes. But yeah, you can tell that
he was upset. He was
upset.
He was a little bothered by that, but... Oscar's Oscar.
But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see, you know, how he does at 140. You know, at 135 he was unified. He was the former unified champion. You know, I know ESPN sometimes, you know, they get a little hold of themselves, they get a little confused. But yeah, you know, he was unified at 135. So it's gonna be interesting to see. We know he wants to repeat that at 140. So it's going to be interesting to see how that goes.
Yeah.
So that's all we got. So thanks for tuning in, y'all.
And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Or talk your shit. And we out.